One of the key instruments of Revenue Watch capacity building program in the Africa region is the Extractive Industries Knowledge Hub, which we established in 2009 in Accra. The extractive sector is very key to the development of sub-Saharan African countries from Revenue Watch's perspective, because most of these countries, not only are they endowed in precious metals, they also have large deposits of oil and gas. And over the last 10 years, actually the new discoveries in oil and gas reserves have come from most of these countries. For example, Ghana, Uganda, Tanzania, Liberia, and Sierra Leone coming up. The challenge, however, is that in most of these countries, the quality of life of the citizens have either stagnated over time or actually not improved at all. So one of the key objectives of the Knowledge Hub was to build a mass of citizens across the continent with the knowledge and skill in the sector to be able to hold both the governments and companies to account on how the sector is managed for the benefit of the people. Since 2009, we've had over 200 key social leaders participate in this course, and each one of them have gone back and used this knowledge in different ways in their countries.
I'm Senator Bosenga Milton Finlay, President Pro Tempore of the Liberian Senate, and I am the head administrator of the Liberian Senate. Oil and gas is a whole new area for us, and we needed to understand what this oil and gas sector is all about. We have no prior knowledge of it in our territory, and we needed to have some experience and somebody with knowledge in the legislature to be able to articulate those issues that surround gas and oil. A lot of resources and revenue are generated from the extractive sector. So we needed to understand the oil and gas sector, because these were concessions, contracts that were coming to the legislature for ratification. And because of the need of the legislature having an in-depth understanding was the reason why I attended the Revenue Watch course in Ghana. At the time, I was serving as the co-chairman on Lands, Mines and Energy. I also serve as the chairperson for the Committee on Revenue. In that capacity, I had a lot of responsibility for the legislature, for the Senate, in terms of these contracts and making recommendation whether to ratify it or not to ratify it. We represent the people, and we have to ensure that the interests of the people in those contracts are secure. And the only way we'll be able to do that is by making sure that we understand the issues surrounding those different sectors. What we have been able to achieve from participating in the course, we're much more tough on transparency, accountability, because we do not manage the day-to-day activities of these particular concessions and contracts. Those are done by the executive. They monitor, they evaluate. We have oversight responsibility over those entities and agencies that manage the day-to-day operations of these sectors. And we've been able to use the experience to be able to ask the relevant questions in terms of how these companies are operating, whether they are paying what they're supposed to be paying in terms of revenue, in terms of royalty, in terms of taxes, and if they are providing the necessary training for Liberians also under their concession agreement. Those are issues that we were able to pick up, and we are applying those issues today in most of the concession agreement. There's a better understanding of that particular sector. Whereas if you look at the earlier contracts that we did, you will see the differences in those earlier contracts versus those contracts that we have been able to ratify over the last 2 or 3 years.
My name is Razia Mwawanga. I am from Tanzania Media Fund. I'm in charge of capacity building in my organization, and it's the only fund of its kind in Tanzania. Our role and mandate is to promote media independence and to make the media a critical player in domestic accountability. We want to teach journalists to be professional journalists, people who can be called upon to articulate issues as experts, and we teach them to be fishers of stories, and we mentor them so that they can go and do in-depth research, do analysis, and write things that will promote domestic accountability and change the lives of the way Tanzanians look at different issues. I attended summer school in 2013, and it was like doing a crash master's specialization program because it broadened and it opened my thinking on all aspects of the extractive industry. The way the program was structured, it would have been easily comprehended by anybody else. So to me, I learned so many things about the extractive industries, and they opened my understanding on how broad the industry was, the challenges that were there, and then looking at the problems we had back home, I had an idea of how I could use that knowledge to transfer that knowledge that I learned. We really wanted journalists to be in the center of the discussion on accountability and transparency issues on extractive industries. How are they supposed to do them if them personally did not understand? So that knowledge that I gained helped me to structure a good program, get experts from Tanzania and from Ghana who came and build editors' capacity around extractive industries. For most journalists, they did not, when they go to report these issues, they are not objective. They just see one side, and because these mining companies are not accessible, so they write whatever they want. So that was the challenge, understanding the industry, how it is, what are the challenges, what are the opportunities. So that was a great challenge. We only knew from one side. So going to this summer school opened my perspective to ask even questions I never thought we could ask. So based on this experience, it has shaped the way we have structured our fellowship program. Our program has become more structured. We are creating a pool of experts in Tanzania who will be building our journalist capacity on extractive industries. We are also trying to build a pool of specialized expert journalists who are going to work on extractive issues.
I am Ewulai Ano Ejei III. I'm the Paramount Chief of the Western Nzima Traditional Area, the Jomoro District of the Western Region of Ghana. About 80% of all the land in Ghana is owned by the chiefs on behalf and for their people. In September 2009, I attended the summer school because Ghana, for the first time, has discovered oil in commercial quantities in 2007. And my area being very close to the Jubilee field, it became compelling that I know something in depth about what hydrocarbon exploration and development is all about, and to have a knowledge base on the legal regimes that govern the extractive industry. And traditional authorities, people expect them, to be able to liaise with government to ensure that the environment is not destroyed just because hydrocarbons or minerals are being exploited. One of the key challenges is the enclave which has been created for the oil exploitation, because to some extent a fisherman will not be able to go to a certain area for fishing, and this is affecting their fish landing and therefore affecting their livelihood. When we met today, a lot of the people were raising concerns about their livelihood situation, and so we continue to advocate, we continue to network, but much has not been achieved. That is why I have put in place again a platform for coastal communities that is dealing with some of these issues at the community level. And this NGO is owned by the people along the coastal belt. And I think this is an innovation different from the NGOs that come to the coastal belt, discuss issues, go, and they don't come back. This one is a community-based, approach, and I think this is also part of the knowledge I acquired. I have also been able to organize workshops for some of the chiefs and people, because I find that we need to mobilize the people to understand, the issues of the oil and to be able to help us address them, not to just have a lonely voice. All the things that you taught us relating to oil has been helping me to help contribute to the drafting of most of the legal regimes during seminars and workshops that were held in Accra. In fact, the Revenue Management Act, the Local Content Bill, all these have some of our inputs, and we were able to make that because of the summer school that we attended and other courses that followed up.
My name is Theophilus Sagbenda. I am the chairman of the Association of Journalists on Mining and Extractives in Sierra Leone. I am also the project coordinator of Culture Radio FM 104.5. My main objective for attending the course in 2010 was to broaden my horizon on issues bordering on the oil and gas sector. Mining has taken place in this country for decades, but the country is still rated as one of the least developed in the world. So we thought, as journalists, we should come together and use the media as a tool for sensitizing the public on what is happening in the mining industry, because one thing that has characterized our mining industry is the fact that transparency is lacking. The knowledge gained from the summer school in Ghana has helped me personally in my work and has also enhanced the capacity of my organization. We decided to form the Association of Journalists on Mining and Extractives because we wanted to respond to the need to add our voices to campaign for just mining. We are 45 in number and we are spread all over the country. In everywhere where mining is taking place, we have our members there. After the training, we have produced a couple of reports, including one which focused mainly on the oil and gas sector. We did a thorough examination of the governance structures in place. We passed the petroleum bill in the House of Parliament with a certificate of emergency, which means parliamentarians were not able to discuss the content of the bill, and they were also not opportune to take the bill to their constituents. So for me, that is worrying. And so this report tried to expose all those things. This is the very first independent report any organization has published in this country. And I tell you, the knowledge we gained from that particular training in Ghana helped us so greatly in putting down some of these materials. We do so many things. We produce quarterly magazines containing all our findings. We also do lots and lots of radio programs to react to happenings in the mining sector, and also we train our colleague journalists. As a result of our work, we have been able to impress on the government to ensure a change in the governance structure of our natural resources. Initially, everything was in the hands of the Ministry of Mineral Resources, with the Minister and the Director of Mines having the biggest say. They determine what happens. But now what happened? As a result of our intervention, you have the National Minerals Agency, which has a semi-autonomous authority over its operations. They are like the professional wing. And initially that was lacking. And to us, that is a very good step.
My names are Amani Mustafa Muhinda. I am the Executive Director of Haki Madini. It's a local organization which works around small-scale mining, community rights, environmental issues, and other socio-economic issues around that. We are based in Arusha, Tanzania. I attended summer school in Accra, Ghana in 2010. It came at a time when I had already engaged in the mining sector for almost 10 years. I am a lawyer by training and background, and that means I had stronger bias on human rights issues. But that means I missed a lot of other issues, economic and technical argument around the sector. So it reached a time where I felt, I need to develop a little bit on my own skill. The knowledge that I got from the training, I've been able to apply it at organization level, because I feel like I'm indebted to my colleagues. They need to grow, because everybody looks at me as an example, and people think everyone within the organization should be the same. So there's need to have that internal learning. So we've been building systems, models within the organization. We've had leadership program within that. We've been having mentoring within the organization, and this really helps the organization as a whole. We also have a leadership program for women engaged in mining, which is brings together. Now we've trained 40 women from the grassroots community on various skills, taking them through the value chain, and it's a very unique model that has not been designed anywhere. And this comes from the training from Revenue Watch, and also after that, I attended a TOT training for trainers course, which helped us, in how do we design capacity building programs. So this was really useful when I was designing a leadership program, and it's seen as a model, and everyone is coming to learn from that. Another thing I'm focusing on at national level is to support Haki Rasilimali, which is a national platform bringing together about 13 civil society organizations who meet every month for learning meetings. They also come together to plan for joint action, for example, engaging in the gas policy and also the constitutional review process. For me, the summer school has really changed my life, from a mere grassroots mobilizing agent to a national level civil society actor. I've moved from being a critic to being part of the solution. But also, it has opened opportunity for me to engage in consultancies and public speaking across the globe. I've been engaged, for example, in the G8 partnership discussion between Canada and Tanzania on extractive sector, contributing to that policy. I've been engaged in G8 UK partnership within Tanzania. But I've also been contracted to support capacity building for East Africa Legislative Assembly based in Arusha. I've also been recommended to support capacity building on oversight bodies for extractive sector in Liberia, attached to the Liberian Senate and House of Representatives. So it shows that on personal level, there's a lot of growth and development.
Our observation over the last 5 years is that the transparency and accountability movement in the extractive sector is growing across these different countries, and which is largely attributed to the work that the hub is doing. And we hope this will translate eventually to improved lives of the citizens.